Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I ended my fast. I went a total of 26 and a half hours. My longest ever dry fast, actually. And well, I guess I didn't get to go see Mary Curry as I had hoped. But there were other benefits, and I'm going to talk about them in this video. About the Mary Curry, I am auto romantic by heart. I love going out to see a movie by myself. I love going to my favorite restaurant by myself. If I could have it my way, I would never mess with anybody else. Unfortunately, I don't get to have it my way. Let me give you an example. When I went to apply to rent this apartment, it's a month to month lease. I went to the front desk, and in front of me was this gay couple. And even then, I felt like I was treated like a second class citizen compared to how the property manager dealt with those two people. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with gays, but a lot of things just require two people to open up that door, is what I'm trying to get at. And to be honest, I don't mind having a roommate. I do have a problem with having a roommate that's not on the same page as I am, right? So, for example, I was living in another apartment in Laveen, Arizona 2 years ago. I would be ready to come home to my favorite dinner, maybe ready to break my Yom Kippur fast. And all of a sudden, the kitchen utensils would be nowhere to be found, or the dishes would be piled high in the sink. And I really despise dishes in the sink more than anything else because it creates a little bit of a social traffic jam, right? You might want to wash your dishes, but you don't want to touch other people's dirty dishes, especially someone like me. I have allergies to various food items. Now, my roommate, he might not have food allergies, but you got to remember this was summer 2021 we were talking about. Nobody wanted to touch something that somebody just ate off of, right? Especially, I don't remember. This would have been in August of 2021. I don't know if my roommate had gotten that so-called poison that made him feel okay to touch other people's dishes. Even then, I'm sure he disliked it anyhow. And so when there's dirty dishes in the sink that belong to more than two people, it creates a little bit of a social traffic jam, right? Everybody's waiting for everybody else to do the dishes so they can touch their own dishes. A lot of times it's easier to just go to Target and buy some more eating utensils. And then you just keep piling until it hits the ceiling, right? Until there's so much gravity pushing on the dishes that it might create a new chemical element, right? It almost seems like you could pile dishes that high, right? And so it inspired me to go out and look for a life partner. And unfortunately, that's easier said than done when you're done with school and you're middle aged. It's easier said than done, right? In fact, the only time I sometimes meet a potential life partner is somebody who thinks I'm a little bit younger than I am, right? Unfortunately, I at the college I'm teaching, a lot of students think I'm a student, and sometimes they have inappropriate feelings for me. Now, if they're not that inappropriate, sometimes I'll hum along with it, learn some new social skills, but sometimes it goes beyond just that, right? I was working at a tutoring center, and the kids there really had inappropriate feelings. Some of these are high school, 15, 16, 17 years old, and the area of Phoenix I was working at had a lot of gay men as well. And so I got inappropriate feelings from both genders, by the way. Um, and and so I, I thought, maybe if I could travel back and see when I was a kid, before I understood that there are people who actually don't want to meet that life partner, I felt really bad for Mary Curry. She became widowed when she was 37 years old, never met another man in her life. And it was only, I think, 100 years from now, history will probably record Mary Curry as having a second marriage in her life, a solo sexual one. I strongly suspect history will remember her that way 100 years from now when it starts to become more acceptable. Actually, maybe not 100 years, 10, 20 years from now. I think history will record Taylor Swift as having begun her marriage when she was probably 15, 16 years old, and how she cheated on herself with all these guys along the way. I strongly suspect history will record that, right? But unfortunately, today as it is, it's very difficult to lead. Just look at how many U.S. presidents we've had that were homosexual, especially if they were not closeted about it. Zero, right? We'll probably have a gay president one of these days. We'll probably have a female president very soon. And right now, do we have the oldest president who's serving right now? And a lot of these other barriers can be overcome, but for some reason, solo sexuality to this day still cannot be overcome. And that's why I wanted to go meet Mary Curry. And so I starved myself and dehydrated myself for 26 and a half hours. And I started to hallucinate about Mary Curry. But then my hallucinations got wilder and wilder. I got to teach tomorrow. And, I don't mind going to heaven like this, but if my last memories from other people are that, Peter came in such a mess and he created a scene in the classroom and he talked gibberish, I don't want my last impression to be that. So that's a tough one. If I ever try to fast myself to death again, I'll probably do it when I'm on vacation, especially if I can go visit the statue of Mary Curry in Warsaw, right? I'll probably go there when I'm doing my long fast and collapse right in front of her and meet up with her in heaven. But one thing that made me some insights I drew from this fast. I came to realize the reason I didn't like my food was because I really despised going to our bathroom here in the apartment. It's a very rundown apartment. It probably was built before World War II, and so I just don't like using the bathrooms. And it doesn't have any problem. I have a test kit to make sure that the walls and water don't contain any lead. In fact, I'm the one who brings lead in here to make my art. And so it doesn't have any problems. It doesn't have radon issues or anything like that. But it's just gross. I really despise having to take trash out because the trash area is a mess. And then it dawned on me that I just need to move to a better place. I don't need to go up to heaven to see Mary Curry. And then it dawned, and another thing that dawned on me is my art projects. Part of the reason I took up so much artwork in recent times was because I was unsure about my job at Phoenix College, at Grand Canyon University. I've lost other jobs before. I taught at another school who was completely fraudulent. They ended up closing their doors. I think they might even have a few lawsuits slapped against them. And coming from that kind of background, I felt like I had to hedge my bets. And so my insight came a couple of days ago, or a couple weeks ago. I went to pay my car insurance premium, and I discovered that the insurance premium had jumped 20-30%. And I decided to get rid of my collision coverage and also to raise the deductible on the comprehensive, among other things, because I have some money to replace the car if it were to come to that. And then it dawned on me, my art project was like an insurance policy against if work doesn't go too well. But now that work's going well, I have some money saved up. Maybe it's time to lower the coverage and maybe make less art, right? And have more time to myself to breathe a little bit and to maybe enjoy the other spoils of life and stop thinking about my bathroom, right? And so anyways, I drew some insight on that. I love my art projects, and I love the fact that last week I had a difficult student, and I was able to just tap dance my way around him without worrying if I'm going to lose my job. I really love that freedom. It makes me think, what if we could negotiate with our work so that, in exchange for more stability, I might actually sleep better and do a better job, right? Of course, that's a tall order here in the United States, right? But do some fortune telling. Let's see. I'm going to ask Mary Curry if she's going to introduce one of her great-great-great-great-granddaughters to me to have as a life partner. And I start with a death. Oh my God. She's angry at me because I didn't join her in heaven. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.